powers of alchemy. powers of alchemy.
All right, y'all, what's going on, man? Happy Tuesday to you. You know what I mean? This is your brother Frank, your friend, your homie, your confidant, your student, your teacher, all that good stuff, man. It's your man Frank coming to you live and direct with another edition of View from the Man Cave. So welcome. Welcome to View from the Man Cave, a place for honest, informative, and intellectual dialogue and discourse about all things related to masculinity and manhood, responsibility and respect, provision and protection. So let's talk about it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. All right, y'all, man. It's another day. It's another day in the life, man, of your bro Frank. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope everybody had a happy Monday, a good Tuesday. We here, man. We're gonna chop it up for a little bit, man. I'm happy to see y'all, man. I'm happy to be alive. You know what I mean? I'm happy to be breathing air, man. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people didn't wake up this morning, man. A lot of people didn't make it through the weekend. You know what I mean? We all did. If you're listening to this, if you can see me, if you can hear the sound of my voice, that means you made it, man. You know what I mean? That's something to be happy about because you have another option. You have another opportunity to go out here and go out here and be great. Excuse me. You know what I mean? To go out here and change some things that need to be changed, move some things around that need to be moved. You know what I mean? And just be the better and bigger person that you're destined to be, man. So you had an opportunity to do that. So that's something to be thankful about. So we're gonna get to our topic in a few minutes, man. I want to shout out everybody listening right now. I see D here. What's going on, D? Um, you know what I mean? The missus always coming through, showing love and support, all of that good stuff. You know what I mean? We're getting ready to go back to Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? We took the kids a couple weeks ago. Had a great time for spring break. But wifey said, man, I want to go back. Just you and me and the kids. You know what I mean? So we're gonna do that this weekend, man. Just me and my wife. We're gonna slide back to Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? And celebrate her birthday. I'm not gonna tell y'all how old she is. That ain't none of your business. You know what I mean? But salute to all the Tauruses out there. You know what I mean? Happy birthday to my wife, who's gonna celebrate her birthday over the weekend. So we're gonna do that. So I'm gonna talk about a few things, you know what I mean, that are on my mind, that are on my heart, and then we're gonna get right into our topic tonight. And so I'll put the StreamYard link on the Facebook post for this, and I put it in the chat. So if you want to come up when we get to that point in the show, if you want to come up, let your voice be heard, speak your piece, all that good stuff, then feel free to do so. But right now, I just want to talk thing, and I just want to say rest in peace to our brother Black Rob. You know what I mean? I'm gonna start it right there. So for a lot of y'all who don't know Black Rob was a brother who was signed. He's from New York. He was signed to Bad Boy Records. He dropped the album with them, maybe a couple of albums, I'm not sure. He did have a big single though. The song was called Whoa. It was a big smash, in the clubs, heavy radio play, all that good stuff off the brother's debut album. But he was signed to Bad Boy Records, man, good brother, you know what I mean? And he recently, passed away. I see D in the chat. I know she actually had a chance to meet him. D kind of do her thing, man. She's around a lot of, musicians and artists and things like that. So she had a chance to meet the brother, said he was a very good brother. So I just want to say rest in peace to Black Rob, man. You know what I mean? He was 51 years old. He was 1 year older than DMX, who recently passed away as well. So I just want to say, prayers to him, condolences to his family. If he had any children, to his children, to his extended family, and all the fans out there who used to bump Rob back in the day, who used to go crazy in the club when Whoa came on. You know what I mean? It was fire. And so also, the brother, he kind of fell on hard times. So when he passed away, he didn't really have a lot of money to his name. I think when he was in the hospital and he was sick, he was kind of going through the storm. Some folks close to him put out a GoFundMe, for him to try to raise some money, because at the time, I believe Black Rob, he had his hospital bills, medical bills piling up. I believe the brother was homeless. I read that somewhere. So the brother really wasn't doing well. And so there was a GoFundMe for him. They were trying to raise $50,000 to kind of get him some housing and things like that. Sure, indeed. He had two kids. So condolences, and prayers to his two babies, man. So So yeah, so he wasn't really doing that well. He was struggling. He was going through hard times, when he was in the hospital, and right before he ascended, he didn't have a home. He was homeless. He didn't have a lot of money. Obviously, being in the hospital, that's not free. So he had hospital bills piling up. So there was like a $50,000 GoFundMe for him. And I'll put, that link. Well, if you just search Black Rob, if you Google Black Rob GoFundMe, it'll come up. So I'm sure they're trying to raise some money for him. Actually, I read that, that Diddy reached out, to his family, and he's actually going to pay for his funeral, which is a good move too. But I did want to shout out, Black Rob and talk about, the GoFundMe. And I wanted to address, some criticism that I've been seeing on online about Diddy too. I saw a picture up, I saw a meme where they were talking about Diddy, and they were talking about all the artists that were signed to Bad Boy, and how a lot of them, they're either dead, they're locked up behind that G wall, with serious time, or they're just destitute, or they out in the field struggling, a lot of money to their name. And a lot of people were looking at Diddy a certain type of way, like, what does that mean? What does it say to the people to know that all the artists, that have ever worked with you are either broke, are dead, or, just nobody knows what they're doing. They weren't able to finesse their career and their fame in order to, produce a profit for themselves outside of the music. And so I feel a certain type of way about it too. I understand both sides of it. As a man, as a grown up, it's your responsibility to take care of your paper, to make sure that you're right, make sure you make good investments, make sure that you can parlay that into some other business ventures where you can make money for yourself. And also, so I do understand that every man has to stand on their own and take care of their business and take care of their family. But also, I think, when your entire roster is like that, I do think that's a bad look. So, maybe if I'm Diddy, I could have did something, maybe, slid them their masters or a percentage of their masters. Or I know he had the Bad Boy tour a few years ago, and Black Rob was a part of that. So just do some things just to kind of get the brothers together, what I mean? And slide some opportunities to them in order to put, a couple dollars in their pocket. So I do understand both sides. I don't think that it's, Diddy's responsibility to take care of them, to hold their hand. He gave them an opportunity. He gave them an opportunity to, to make a name for themselves, to make money. And I'm not, disrespecting Black Rob or anybody. I mean, brother passed away, 51 years old, is too young. You know what I mean? And it's just sad, and I just hate to see that the brother went out like that. You know what I mean? Where, he wasn't really, sustained on the financial side of the game. So all you artists out there, man, let this brother's life, be a lesson. You know what I mean? Make good music, inspire the people. You know what I mean? Make sure that, you inspire your fans, and you do the right thing by your fans. You know what I mean? You put good music out there, but just make sure that you take care of your money, because you never know how long your career is going to be. Rap is not, a career that a lot of brothers get in and they stay in it long term. It's only a handful of artists that, the Jay-Z's of the world, the Nas's of the world, brothers who've been in the game a long time and have been able to finesse that over and over and over again, to make money over and over and over again, and parlay that into different ventures and things like that. You know what I mean? So just make sure that, your paper's right. So I just want to say that, shout out to Black Rob, you know what I mean? And again, prayers to him, condolences to his family, to his children. And if that GoFundMe is still up, you can just search Black Rob GoFundMe. It'll come up. And if you want to contribute something to, whatever they have going on the GoFundMe, you can do that. You know what I mean? So, that is what it is. Also today, we got a verdict today. All right. I'm going to talk about that. We got a verdict in the George Floyd case. All right. So we all know about our brother George Floyd out there in Minnesota. You know what I mean? The cop, Derek Chauvin, had our brother cuffed, had his knee on his neck, for over 8 minutes. You know what I mean? And basically, murdered our brother out there. And so, the officer was arrested. They had a lengthy trial. I see you. Thank you for coming through. So they had a lengthy trial, and the verdict came out today for our brother, George Floyd, and it came out well. It came out the way that it was supposed to. Let me say that. I'm not going to say that this is a victory. I'm not going to run around here jumping for joy, buck dancing, clapping and all that. But what was supposed to happen, happened. You know what I mean? This officer who killed our brother, was found guilty on all counts. Found guilty on all counts. 2nd-degree murder, 3rd-degree murder, second degree involuntary manslaughter. You know what I mean? He got found guilty of all of that. And so that's good news to me. I'm very happy about that. According to reports, he's going to be sentenced in about 8 weeks. So in 8 weeks, we'll find out. We'll come back to the drawing board. We'll see how much time this man gets. I hope it's lengthy. He's looking at, he could get upwards to, if he's given the max, he could get upwards to about 70, 80 years, to my understanding, if he gets the max for all counts, which I don't think he will. Honestly, I don't trust situations like this. That's why I'm not getting overly excited, overly happy about it, because I just have a feeling, something's just telling me honestly that, when we come back in 8 weeks and this man gets sentenced, that sentence is going to be light. It's going to be lighter than what it should be. And if he got the max, if he got 70, 75 years, it's not enough time, in my personal opinion. It's not enough. We all saw the video. I'm thankful for that sister who actually recorded it, because in my personal opinion, if it wasn't for that recording, if we didn't see that video, this conviction wouldn't have happened. If there's no video, there's no public outcry. You don't see the athletes and the rappers and the celebrities coming out, influencing their industries with it, as you saw LeBron do and some of the other NBA players did in the NBA last season. So if we don't see that video, if we don't see this brother, fighting for his life, man, losing oxygen, crying out for his mother, crying out for his family, we didn't see that brother suffer like that, then this conviction doesn't come, in my personal opinion. And I know I had a sister, who came out, who I posted about this, and she came out and she said, yo, Frank, they had to do this, because if they didn't, we were going to get them that work. We were going to give them that smoke. Let me tell y'all something, man. White people ain't the dominant society. The people who move and shake things, who are racist, they don't care about our smoke. They don't care about our smoke. They don't care about us tearing stuff up, and burning stuff and looting and going and taking a flat screen TV, and getting some eggs out the grocery store. They don't care nothing about that. They have insurance for that. People aren't out there, guns aren't being drawn, bullets aren't flying around, there's no bloodshed. So they're not afraid of our smoke, especially when, history has taught us, or not taught us, but history has showed us that when these things happen, the majority of the time, we get a little animated, we get a little excited, we tear some stuff up, we march around, we do our thing, but then in a couple weeks, we're right back at it. We're right back to doing what we've always done. So when you move like that, when you shake like that, people aren't afraid of our smoke. They have locks for that. They have insurance for that. They have windows that they board up for that. They can weather the storm, because they understand that our storm really ain't going to last long. We're going to give them some heat for a week, and then we're going to be right back over there doing the things that we've always done. So because of that, I don't think this conviction came out because, they were afraid of us giving them any type of heat, any type of smoke. I think what it was too much heat on this case. Too many people were watching it. It was too popular. And I think that they sacrificed Derek. I did. I do. I think in a perfect world, he would have got off, or they would have convicted him, but then he would have got out. He would have got off on an appeal. I think that's what typically happens. I think that's what they wanted to happen. But it was so popular. It was so many eyes on it. So many celebrities and all these people brought it to the forefront that they really couldn't do that this time. So they had to sacrifice him, in order to make it look like, things are where they're supposed to be. So that's how I feel about it. I'm happy that the verdict came out the way that it did. Justice has not been served. We're not taking our eyes off nothing. It's still reparations or nothing. We still want our check. You know what I mean? We still want that paper. You know what I mean? This conviction is not going to take our mind off that. It's not going to take our eyes and our focus off of that. We want that bag. You know, we're owed that bag. You know what I mean? Reparations or nothing. That check needed to be cut. This was nice. This was what was supposed to happen. You know what I mean? I think there are a lot of foundational Black Americans, a lot of people, you know, even outside of our community who are happy, you know what I mean, with the verdict, you know, with the guilty verdict and all that. But, you know, we're not satisfied. You know what I mean? Especially not, you know, like I said, we want that check cut. And we're not satisfied, especially till we see what that sentence going to look like. Let me tell you something too. Another reason why we're not satisfied, because we got one down. You know what I mean? And we got 3 more to go. All these men stood around and watched our brother get murdered. All these men, you know, stood around and did nothing while our brother fought for his life and took his last breaths. It took his last breath. They were there. They stood around. They did nothing. They didn't do anything. So hopefully more heat is coming. You know what I mean? We got 1 conviction. We got 3 to go. So we're not letting up. You know what I mean? We're not, you know, we're not taking our foot off the gas by no stretch at all. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But, you know what I mean? We're not moved. You know what I mean? We're not taking our eyes off the prize at all. So I just wanted to address those 2 things before I got into my topic tonight. And actually, you know, I have opened up, you know, this is going to be an open panel discussion. So if anybody wants to come up and talk about it, you know what I mean, about our topic for tonight, you can do so. You know what I mean? Let your voice be heard. If not, I'm going to rock out solo. You know what I mean? It's nothing. But if you want to come up, if you want your voice to be heard, you want to kind of add on to the discussion that I'm going to go into tonight, feel free to come. You know what I mean? I put the link in the Facebook description, I put it in the chat on YouTube, and I also put it on Facebook, you know what I mean, for the post for this video. So if you want to come through, pull up, man, we could rap on it. We could rap a taste. You know what I mean? It's nothing. But the topic of my show tonight, the topic of this show is, can you really be ready to be a parent and not be ready to be a spouse? This topic came from a discussion that I was a part of on Clubhouse. You know what I mean? If you're not on Clubhouse, you should be. You know what I mean? You have a phone, you got an iPhone, and you're able to download Clubhouse. You know, you should do that. Come through. You know what I mean? Show us love. Kind of, you know, add on to our discussions. We have great discussions over there. When I say we, I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about my man Gabe over at Ultimate Black Man Radio. That's my brother in these social media streets. I'm talking about my sister Nicole Michelle, Inner Beauty Movement. You know what I mean? I'm talking about big bro Tony Maceo, Power and Strategy. You know what I mean? Center of the board. I'm talking about, you know, my man C Bug is over there now. You know what I mean? Dom Game Division, he's over there. He's come through. He was in the room I was in earlier today. And a few other people, you know, my sister Sasha, Letitia, Lillian, all these good people, man. You know, we rock out together on Clubhouse. We do these rooms. We support one another. We have great discussions over there. So we were in a room about a week ago, a little bit over a week ago. And I think, you know, Nicole was hosting it. She was hosting the room, and the rest of us, we were in there just modding, you know, commenting, all that kind of stuff, but just, you know, holding our sister down. And so I can't remember offhand what the topic was. No, I do know what it was. So the topic was, you know, how important is legal marriage? You know what I mean? Being legally married by the state, having documentation, having a marriage license, all that good stuff. How serious is that? You know what I mean? How important is that? And so we opened up the floor, you know what I mean? And we allowed people to kind of comment about their opinions on the topic. And so there was this one sister who commented, and she was talking about her situation. And she said, look, you know, I've been with this guy pretty much all my life. You know, I've known him since high school. And, you know, we were in love, and, you know, we just knew we were going to be together and all that good stuff. And he asked me to marry him. This is what the young lady said. She said, you know, my high school sweetheart, whatever, all that good stuff. You know, we were in our early 20s at the time. And the dude asked her to marry him. And she told him no at the time. She said because she wasn't ready to be a wife. She wasn't ready to be married. She wasn't ready to be a wife. So she went on to say that even after she told him that she wasn't ready for marriage, they were still in love. They were still together. They were still doing what lovers do. They were still having sex, all that good stuff. And they were having babies. You know what I mean? And so she said eventually, maybe 5, maybe 6, 7 years down the line after that, they eventually got married, and they've been married ever since. And, you know, their thing. But when she said that, it made me think for a second. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand how you can be ready to be a mother. You can be ready to be a parent, but you're not ready to be a spouse. And so what does that really mean? You know, like I just, and it kind of, you know, and the sister went on to clarify. She said, look, you know, I understand that my situation worked out. You know what I mean? It worked out. It ended well. We're married. We're doing our thing. But for a lot of women who made the move that I made, you know what I mean? It doesn't end well. You know, the relationship ends for whatever reason. And then all of a sudden, you know, I'm a single mom and, you know, he's a single dad and we're trying to co-parent and all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So that's how it happens a lot of the time. And so I just wanted to talk about that tonight, you know, being ready to be a parent, but not being ready to be a spouse. In my personal opinion, I think that's backwards. You know what I mean? I don't think that makes a lot of sense. I think that, you know, being in a healthy relationship, being in a marriage it helps to prepare you to be a parent. And don't get it twisted. There's nothing that could have prepared me to be a husband. You know what I mean? I don't care how many people I talk to. I don't care how many counseling sessions that I went to, and I went to them with Rasha, of course. We did marriage counseling. I don't care who talked to me. I don't care how many sessions we went to. None of that stuff prepared me for marriage. It gave me a lot of tools that I put in the tool chest that I pulled out over the years to be able to, you know, tighten some things up and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But nothing really prepares you to be married. Not until you get in it. But what I will say is that, see my sister in here, Shantina, the House of L. Let me say something about my sister real quick. She's been stepping her game up. You know what I mean? She's been stepping her YouTube game up. She's been doing more videos. You know what I mean? I told her to do that. Some other people very close to her told her to do that. That it was her time. She needed to stop playing around and get out here and do her thing. And she's been putting out videos, and I've been listening to them. And that's my sister, and I love her. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to shout her out. You know what I mean? The House of L. If y'all not over there, y'all missing out. She goes deep. You know, she's heavy. You know what I mean? So if y'all haven't subscribed to the House of L, go over there, check my sister out, man. Subscribe to her. Check out some of her videos, man. She's dope. Respect. And I just that's backwards. I think, you know, from my personal experience, being a husband helped to prepare me to be a father. And even with that, like, listen, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I know in our community there are a lot of us who were born into households that only had one parent. And I know even now, a lot of us, even though we know how hard it is, even though we saw our parents struggle, even though we read the Moynihan report, even though y'all have seen my videos, y'all have seen Gabe's videos, y'all have seen videos that we've done together. Y'all have seen Shantina come up on the channel, drop heat. You know what I mean? We've talked about this extensively. And even though the history shows that we put our children in the worst possible situation when we bring them into this world, without being covered by a healthy, you know, mother, father, masculine, feminine situation. We know that history is showing us that. If you ain't really a fan of history, if you don't really know history like that, just look in your family, look in your own house. You know what I mean? You know you tired. You know you struggling. You know it's hard dealing with your baby mama and trying to figure it out and all this kind of stuff. You know how hard it is. But regardless of how hard it is, there are people out here who are still gambling. There are people out here who are still ready to be parents, or who have convinced themselves that they're ready to be parents, but they're not ready to be spouses. Where they, and I didn't understand it. Like, how can you look like there are guys out here who purposely personally go into sexual situations with a woman, knowing that they want this woman to carry his child. But he also knows that he doesn't want to marry her. He has no intentions of marrying this woman, but he wants this woman to be his baby mother. There are guys who wake up every day with that mindset, and there are women out here who could look at the guy, their boyfriend, their boo, whatever. They could look him dead in his eyes and say, you know what, I want you to be. Every time they have a session, she telling them, stay up in there, stay up in there like it's a storm outside, man. Stay in. You know what I'm saying? She's telling them that, and all the while knowing that when she looks at him, she don't see husband. She doesn't see the qualities that make a good husband. She doesn't see herself, cooperating and complimenting him the way that a wife would do those things for a husband. But regardless of that fact, she's still willing to lay down with him every night and run the risk of getting pregnant. You know what I mean? On top of running the risk of other things. You know what I mean? So I never really understood that mentality. I never understood how you could do something like that, and how you can convince yourself in your mind that it's okay, and convince yourself that not only is it beneficial to you, but it's beneficial to your child as well. Let me say, I got my sister on here. I got Giovanna coming up here. Let me add her on. Giovanna, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
So I have a different point of view.
Okay, give it to me. You got it.
So from the time I was about 15 years old, I always knew I wanted to be somebody's mother. I knew that in my soul. I knew that. I didn't necessarily know I wanted to be someone's wife. And part of that has to do with my profession as a paralegal and a paralegal in the military. I have seen, and your statistic is very clear, that it has to be a loving household. Because just because it is two people in that household does not mean it is a conducive, safe, productive environment for children. I have witnessed many courts martial firsthand where a parent, more than likely the father, but sometimes the mother, was either abusing physically, neglectful, or sexually assaulting these children, and the other parent is either complacent or silent or in just flat out denial, because it disrupts what we perceive to be the American dream, or the way society tells us a household and a parent is supposed to be. Is it hard being a single parent? Yes. But I was also married to a man, and let's be very clear, but when I started my motherhood journey, I had a ring on this finger. Somebody asked me, I said I do. But marriage wasn't an institution in my heart that I didn't necessarily want. It was what my mama said I was supposed to do, and society said I was supposed to do, and what was expected of me. Because how am I going to bring this baby into this world without a daddy? And there are people who are not equipped in both capacities, male and female, to be parents. Now, whether they're equipped to be spouses is a totally different situation. But you can, and that's the thing, when you decide to become a parent, I wanted my son. He is completely 100% a choice. He is what I chose to do. I chose to be a mother. I chose to raise him. I am choosing to give him the best that I can in life. I was married to somebody who, in your former military, I'm wearing my Army PT shirt. It's nighttime.
Right.
I'm former military. I was married to somebody who did not get the help and things that he needs because, yeah, you can go to all the counseling you want to about your marriage, and we did, but he wasn't going to get help for PTSD. He wasn't getting help for the fact that he woke up in the middle of the night and choked the ever living life out of me. And I'm supposed to stay in that environment. And on top of that, stay in that environment with my small child because that's okay and healthy. That's okay and right. And Frank, you know Caden. You've been around him. You've seen him.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this. I got divorced when my son was 3 years old. So as long as he can remember, I've been a single parent.
Okay.
You know him. I
Mm-hmm.
believe that I have positive male role models. My father's around, his grandfather's around. My ex-husband is not in the picture. When we got divorced, because I didn't want to be his wife, he didn't want to be a parent. And I didn't want to be a mother to two males. I didn't want to be a mother to the male that I birthed. And I didn't want to be a male to the guy who said, hey, do you want to be married to me? Therein lies the rub. Like, you have to, like, there's all of these things that go into it because my son is in a loving, safe environment where education is required. You will do things. I will do whatever it takes to ensure that you have the best in life.
Mm-hmm.
If I got to beg, borrow, and steal, or go stand on the damn corner, that's what I'm going to do because, again, he was my choice. And marriage, and just like Caden, me becoming a mother was a choice, me becoming a wife was a choice. My ex-husband asked, I could have said no.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. I said yes, but I was conforming to what I believe people wanted me to do and not what I really wanted. And all I wanted in that situation was this baby. And when you make a decision kind of the way that I did, I think children understand what love is. They understand what sacrifice is. They learn what perseverance and hard work is. And the thing is this, me and my son, he'll tell you, we're a team. And it sounds messed up, but we're a team. We're Sherlock and Watson, we're Batman and Robin, we're the dynamic duo. We are a team. So because there is no male in my house, whatever I do, Caden got to do. I wash dishes, he washing dishes. I wash my clothes, he washing his clothes. There's no one. It's and this is my personal experience. This is not speaking for anyone else's marriage. This is not me blanket statement. There's no one to some degree putting on gender conforming roles because a lot of people in marriage conform to certain situations that don't work. He's gonna be out on his own one day. Like, before he get a wife or before he get a girlfriend, before he move in with somebody, he's gonna be on his own. He better know how to wash his own drawers, make his own food, clean up after himself like a functioning human being. And these are qualities that I've come not just being married, but in dating in my 30s, for Christ's sake, that men are seriously lacking. There are men running around here who don't have bank accounts, let alone driver's licenses, just basic stuff. Like my son gets money for Christmas. He looking at me going, Mom, so how much is the compound interest we gonna have by my birthday? You're 10. Go sit the hell down somewhere. Don't talk to me about compound interest. But these are also conversations that men in their 30s are not having. And this isn't something I did. These are men around him who are influencing him. My dad told him how to pee standing up. That is something I am not equipped to do. That is not something I can do, something I can even hope to do. Nope, not my realm of expertise. You need to go to somebody with that equipment. I'm fortunate enough to have had males to step in, and not everyone has someone else to fill in. The other thing is, statistically speaking, Black males are a part of their children's lives, even if they're not in the same household. And it is not necessarily that you have to be together. It is about you showing that you can be mature and put forth love for the child. And again, I started off married. It wasn't just a have a baby situation for me.
Okay. I learned, a few things. This is my sister, y'all, Giovanna. We know each other. Our kids go to the same school. You know what I mean? She's very close friends with my wife, and she's a fellow vet like myself. So we know each other. So a lot of things you said I agree with, and what I want to point out is that, when I did this show, I understand that all marriages don't work. And I understand that everybody is not suited for marriage. And that's true. You have to be a certain type of individual, man and woman, to be married, to understand what that means. And to be able to, give of yourself and sacrifice and cooperate with somebody and compliment somebody. That's work. So I know everybody's not suited for that. And I understand that. But I also understand is that for those people who feel like that, how can you understand that you can't do that or don't want to do that, but you want to have a kid? And see, and in your opinion, your situation is different to me. You know what I mean? In my opinion, because when you had your child, you were married, and so somewhere in your life, you understood, hey, I'm with somebody, I love them, we're married, and we're going to have a kid. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a situation where, so when I did this show, and I understand that there are people, who have children who aren't married yet, or who, have kids, out of wedlock, whatever. The reason why I did this show was because even those women, want at some point, like the topic of this show is, are you ready, or can you really be ready to be a parent and not be ready to be a spouse? So there are some men out here who have children who aren't married, who maybe are ready to be a spouse. That person just didn't ask them, didn't give them the opportunity to say, yes, I will marry you. And then they go get married and they do their thing. But my thing is, and I would never tell a woman, I would never tell a guy to stay in a dysfunctional marriage. You know what I mean? So I'm not, so look, let's be very clear. You know what I mean? I'm not telling nobody to stay in nothing that's dysfunctional, that's abusive, that's where it's jeopardizing your, you emotionally, spiritually, physically, all of that. Especially if there's a child in the picture. No child should be subjected to that. So I'm not telling anybody to stay in a situation I ain't telling Tina to stay with Ike. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what I'm doing. I ain't gonna do that. But what I am saying is that I think that a lot of times we're doing a disservice to ourselves when we say that I'm ready to be a father. Like, I'll just put it as a male, because I don't want this show to be considered women bashing and all of that, because I worded it very well. I worded it strategically to say, can you be ready to be a parent and not be ready to be a spouse? I didn't say ready to be a mother or whatever. So I understand that I'm talking to men and women on this. So let me just put it, from the male side. I think it's selfish of me, of a man, to look at a woman in the face. I think it's selfish, and I think it's irresponsible for a man to look a woman in the face, for me to look you in the face and say, okay, I want you to be the mother of my child, but I don't want you to be my wife. It doesn't make sense. How can I want you to carry my lineage, to carry my legacy, but not want to give you the title of wife? To me, like, that doesn't make sense. And maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't understand. If a man came to you, right, Javon, if a man came to you, like, let's say you were younger, you wanted kids, whatever. I'm not sure where you at if you want more kids, but let's just say, you're in your early to mid 20s and you out here dating or whatever, and you want a family, you want kids. And let's say we're dating, and I say to you, like, we're in a relationship, and I say, look, I want a baby with you. I want us to have a baby, but I don't want you to be my wife. How would you, as a woman, especially back then, like at that point in your life, how would you respond to that if a man looked at you in the face and said, I want you to be the mother of my child, I want you to be my baby mother, but I don't want you to be my wife?
So after I was done laughing, I would have packed all my shit and left. And I'm saying this as 20 something year old me. I'm saying this as how I even still carry myself today, because and you can ask your wife, this is a direct quote. I tell people this all the time. For me. This is Giovanna. A whole bunch of babies by a whole bunch of men is not cute. And that little jerk that's sleeping across the hall from me now, I was in the sanctity of marriage when he was born. I personally am not having a whole bunch of kids out of wedlock, which is why I only have one child. I've never been remarried. I have no desire to be remarried, and therefore I have no more children. I would never bring a child into this world outside of wedlock. Never. That's me. That is me. I got married, I had a baby. I got divorced, and my son is almost 11 and had no more damn babies. That was it. And that's me. And I understand that sounds like I'm a walking contradiction. But again, I knew I wanted to be a mother as young as 15. I watched in my professional relationship with marriage, as I've watched marriage dissolve, in my job as a paralegal, watched people not, you're supposed to tell your spouse all of these things. There are spouses who don't tell their spouse, one person makes more money than the other and they are handling all the bills, and then this person kicks off and turns out you're an amount of debt. Or you wake up one day, or they wake up one day and they decide, you know what, they want to trade up for the newest model, and you're left with nothing. Just nothing. Or you have no way to do anything. And for me, and I think while I was on active duty, it was a very scary prospect for me, because it was like, well, if anybody was getting out the military, it was normally the female. You know this. Like, if two enlisted people got together, it was typically the woman who got out. And then you following this man all around the free world and some of the enslaved world, for the next 20 some odd years. And then he decides at the end of it, it was great. Thank you for supporting me. I've got a master GS 15, 14 position, and now I'm out. And you have no way of supporting yourself. And again, this is professionally me being afraid of marriage, and people not communicating, and people not being honest, and people not preparing for things the way that they should. If I die, if Jesus walked in my bedroom and said, you dying right now, this house gonna be paid off, the little boy gets money in the trust, he's got guardians set up, like, I've done all of these things. And the thing about that is I didn't have to consult with a single solitary person to make these decisions. I got to make all these decisions by myself. And I guess I'm a very solitary creature. So when it comes to decision making, and again, being in the military, that was very hard for me to defer to someone else. Right. To go, okay, so what do you think? And to either get non-committal answers, or to be overtalked and not heard, are not prospects that work for me. I was married to non-committal. It was whatever I wanted to do. Well, damn it, if it's whatever I want to do, I can be a single parent on my own. And there are a lot of married single parents. There are a lot of married single parents, whether they want to admit it or not. There are a lot of married single parents. There may be someone in the household who does the majority of the providing as far as the household bills and making sure there's a roof and all those things. That's fine. But there is the single parent who does the school pickup, who does the PTA meetings, who packs the lunches, who washes the clothes, who does 9,600 other things, and then holds down some type of employment as well. And I look at my friends and I go, okay. And then they come to me and they ask me, what should I do? Don't ask me about marriage, because I failed. Like, in the scorecard of life, when it comes to marriage, I failed. I got a divorce. Don't ask me, because what I'm going to tell you, you're not going to like. Go ask one of your married friends who are happy to give you good advice. Don't ever ask me, because everybody's feelings gonna be hurt, especially theirs.
You said something that was I had to write it down. It stuck out to me. You said something along the lines of being fearful or afraid of marriage. Some people are just are fearful of it, or afraid of it. We know that the divorce rates are very high. Even me being married, I'm almost 15 years. I understand that everybody's marriage is not going to last. Like there were couples that Rasha and I knew that we kind of came into, like we were in marriage ministries together and we were tight and we hung out and we just knew some of these couples were going to make it. My brother got it going on, his wife is, she got it going on. They're young, they're smart, they got the look, they got the energy, everything is right. And we just knew they were going to make it. And then when we found out that they hadn't made it or they weren't going to make it, it was devastating to us. Like, nah, not them. Like some people, when they get married, you're like, I ain't thinking, like, they ain't gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? Like we're happy for them. We go to the wedding and we buy them something, we dance or whatever. We do the electric slide and all that. But on the car, in the car on the way home, we're like, all right, how long you think? A year? 6? I mean, because like they just don't have the right temperament for it. But a lot of people ain't gonna tell them that because they just gonna say, oh, I'm happy for you and let love live and all that. But we like, okay, they ain't, not them. I if they last a couple years, I'd be shocked. But then there's some of them like you just know they're gonna be married. You just know they're gonna be married forever. And so it kind of hit us hard when we found out that they didn't make it. We have conversations with them out the blue. How you and hubby doing? Hubby who? We split up like 6 months. What? Like it's just, what I'm saying? So and so I understand people are fearful of marriage. Even me, like I tell people all the time on this show, like I could wake up tomorrow, you know what I mean? And Rasha could look at me and say, baby, this ain't what I want to do no more. Like I want something else. I've changed, you know what I mean? I'm going in a different direction. I'm a different person. I have no control over that, you know what I mean? Over what she wants, you know what I mean? So there's always a risk. And because there's a risk, there's always a certain level of fear. But let me tell you something else that's very fearful, that people should be fearful about. People should be fearful about having kids. You know what I'm saying? People should be fearful about bringing kids into this world with a guy, with a woman that they know has no capability of being a good parent. You know what I mean? Like, that's what should get you scared. Listen, I've been in the military. I've been married for almost 15 years. I grew up in the hood. I grew up, I seen people get shot. I've had family members shot. Homies died. I seen people die in front of me. You know what I mean? I've been through a lot. And the hardest thing, let me tell y'all, so I'm going to be very honest with y'all on the show. The hardest thing that I have ever had to do in my entire life was be a daddy. These kids, listen, man, I love my kids. I love them. I'll do anything for them. I will live for them. I work for them. I provide for them. I will do anything for them. If you hurt them, I will separate your soul from your body over them. That's how much I love them. But they work my nerves sometimes. Okay, it's hard. They look you right in the face. Yes, mommy, I'll do that. And don't do it. Yes, mommy, I'm gonna be nice. And they don't do it. And that's hard too. And it's hard. Listen, and I'm married. So I'm not talking to Giovanna right now. I'm talking to people in general. Like, I'm married. So I have help. I have my wife here who primarily, she's the mother. She's the heartbeat of the household. So she's the one primarily with them. You know what I mean? And so, so when I see her needing a break, I give her a break. When she sees me, like, okay, Frank, on one right now. Let me give him, I got the kids. You go have you a cigar, you get you some scotch or something, you watch Sports Center, you vibe, and you come back when you're ready. You know what I mean? That's help. Right. And it's still hard. You know what I'm saying? It's still hard. Like she will tell you she's with him doing her thing, and she'll say something to him 2-3 times, nothing. Then I walk in the door. say something one time, they lining up. Like what's going on? So my point is that in my personal opinion, in my life, the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with was being a parent. I was scared to death of being a father. You know what I mean? And I had help and I did it right. Like we got married. We waited 5 years after we got married to start having to have Summer and Juju. We waited 5 years so we can enjoy each other, so we could walk around the house, you know what I mean, with just skin on. We can travel and have fun and do things for 5 years and then start having kids so we can enjoy each other first. You know what I'm saying? So we did it right, which a lot of people don't do, but we did it right and it's still hard. I was still nervous.
But
you know what I mean? So how could you do that how could you bring somebody into this world on your own and with a partner that you don't see yourself being with? You can't see yourself marrying them, or they can't be the parent that they need to be. How could you do that? Why would you do that?
And I can't answer that because that's not what I did. But I
right,
will,
of course, yeah.
I will caution you in saying that you did it right. You did it right for your situation because it works for you and your wife. What works for you and yours doesn't work for everyone else, because my situation works for me. And that's and it's those definitive terms like right, never, always that we get into, and it makes volatile situations. Your situation is right for you. That situation would have never been right for me. Caden would have never been born had we done it that way. I would have never been a mother. I would be almost 35 and single with no children.
Why? I'm curious. Why would that be?
Because I wouldn't have gotten married. And you know, soldiers, they get engaged like it's going out of style.
Right. It's something about possibly having your leg blown off that make you want to get married.
It's that and the fact that you may be leaving in 6 months. Like you never know what someone will say. I'm going to say, hey, here's some orders now. Take your ass to jerk. Like that's the thing. But I've been asked 3 times prior to me saying yes to my ex-husband. I've been asked. It was a thing. I was asked.
Okay.
I said no.
Why?
I said no because I didn't see these men as potential mates. I said no because they were not people that I wanted to have children with. They were fun. Oh, we had a great time. Most of it horizontal. We had a great time.
Okay.
But they were not people I wanted to share my life with, nor to produce offsprings with.
Okay. See, that's what I don't get. Like, and I'm trying to, I know, that's what I don't understand. Like you said, and you made a good point. You said that, Frank, your situation worked because it was right for you and it was right for Ross, and that situation is not right for other people. And so what I'm asking is, what I'm trying to understand is, how can being married and bringing children into the world under the household of a married couple who have vetted each other, who understand who they are, how can that not be right for a child? Like, history has shown us that is right for a child to be born into this world with a competent mother and a competent father in the household, giving them masculine and feminine balance. That history has shown that that's right for a child. So how can it not be right for a mom who wants to have a child by a guy who's not fit to be a husband, or for a guy who wants to have a child with a woman who's not fit to be a wife? How could it,
so me and you are close in age,
right?
We're very close in age, and I'm sure you have single friends. Maybe not a lot, because you and your wife have been married for you all are standing the test of time. Please make it, Jesus, because marriage don't work for me, but I never want to see anyone else's marriage fail. But how many of them are lacking the qualities that it takes to be, before anything else, like my daddy got up every day and worked for Metro for over 40 years. He was there. He got up every single day and opened up a metro station my entire life. But when it came time to send me off to prom, he was there. When it was time for me to graduate, he was there. He cooked breakfast in the morning on the days that he was able to. And so that is what I grew up with. And that's what I saw. And when I'm out here dating, my ex-husband, before he got deployed and lost his mind, embodied those qualities that I knew from my parents' marriage to work. I haven't found that again. I didn't find that before him. And so again, I look like an absolute anomaly because came from a 2-parent household, got pregnant, got married, had a baby. And mind you, he'd asked me prior to me getting pregnant. So it was like, oh crap, now I'm pregnant. Like it was supposed to be, we were supposed to get married and then I got pregnant. That ain't how it worked. And then the Army damaged him. And I feel like the Army damaged what was supposed to have been mine. And granted, we were both soldiers, but they damaged him. The problem is that he didn't want to get fixed. And so the person that I thought embodied these qualities that I understood a man to be, that I understood a father to be, this is the person who had held me after I was far away at Fort Bliss, Texas, when I got the news my grandfather died. He was the person that was there to comfort me. He was there before anybody from my unit was there. He was the person who took me to the airport. He was the first person I got drunk with when I turned 21. He was the person on my 21st birthday ordered crabs from Maryland to have them delivered because he was considerate and he was smart and funny and attractive and he had all of these things going for him. And he got up and he went to work every day. And he felt like my partner. And more than that, he was my best friend. We became best friends. And then we became romantically involved. And so we just naturally progressed into this. This is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. And then he lost his damn mind. But when people aren't embodying what you believe it to be, and the other thing about marriage is, and I hate to say this, but Black women piss me off about the marriage goal because they treat marriage as if it is the ultimate, excuse my language, fucking pride. I can't wait to get married. I can't wait to get married. You talk to my female sibling, you talk to my cousins. It is team dad and then team husband, always team dad before team husband. And I'm thinking to myself, and y'all got kids. Y'all got kids and no damn husband. Y'all have never been married. And why is marriage the goal? But there are things about you can fix and work on. You can finish your education. You can be going after a higher paying job. You can go after homeownership. There should be something else you are striving for other than marriage. And I'm telling you this is something that is going on within my family, within my peer group. It drives me up the wall with women. We collective, all of those born with or without a functioning uterus, 2X goddamn chromosomes, treat it as if it is a goal. Somebody asking you to marry them is not the ultimate prize. Because see, for me, it's a partnership. I want a partner. The ring is great. For legal purposes, it works. Like if I'm out to spend the next 40 years with you, the ring helps. You kick off, something happened, we own property, children. From my professional standpoint, the marriage is the thing to get. But for the emotional part of it, the developmental part of it, the support part of it, you should be looking for a partnership. Women stay married for the sake of having a husband and they're getting their asses beat or being financially neglected or emotionally abused just so they can stand in front of their friends and go, hold on.
Yeah, your sister got a few questions. She has a few. I mean, you can go there first, and then I got another one for you.
Okay, so but no, had my ex-husband gotten the help that he needed, we would have made it. He would not be getting divorced for the third time. The common denominator in all three of his marriages is him.
So let me ask you this, because so you don't think marriage should be goals for women, for Black women?
I think establishing healthy relationships and understanding your partner should be the goal, because I know more. I would say about 25% of my friend group who are married, who did not establish themselves, who the whole goal was because someone asked them they were getting married, are now getting divorced because they married somebody they had no business, because they wanted the title of wife. And when they sit back and think about it now, they will admit that. But at the time, that isn't something they could honest and truly admit to themselves. That they didn't think about what it means. You are sharing everything with this person, or at least you should be, because when you're married, the decisions that I made affected my husband, and the decisions he made affected me. And I'm not talking about the like the basic stuff, what he ate for lunch. Like that is not what I'm talking about. I am talking about the idea, investments, savings. How is that supposed to work? How do they spend? Are they reckless? Should you be the person in charge of the finances? Are we just defaulting to the patriarchal views instead of realizing that the person who is best with the money is the person with the tits? Just being honest. But because we're conforming and my husband's the head of the household and da 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 da, we're not establishing that this is a partnership, that we're supposed to be working together in conjunction with each other. Whatever I do should not just make me better, it should make my husband better, and vice versa. It should be beneficial to us all, except for when I go out to brunch with my girlfriends, and that may not be beneficial to anybody. But it is that part of it that we lose. Like, get married, have it, do it, but don't let that be the only thing that you're aspiring to. Are you just aspiring to be married, or are you aspiring to have a healthy, functional relationship and partnership with somebody that you are honest with and open with and capable of truly communicating with? Not just the everyday bill stuff, but your emotions. Is this somebody you can be vulnerable with? Is this somebody you trust? Or because Paul asks you to marry him and society says you pushing 40, you should be married?
But look, I feel you. I do. You know what I mean? I want you to know that you're being felt right now. But my issue is, these are things that you should be figuring out before you even let somebody smash. How you smashing them, and now when it's time to talk marriage or have a discussion about marriage, now you want to see what his paper look like and what his temperament's like and what her temperament is like and how she handles certain situations. While we wait until the marriage discussion to think like this, because people are smashing, right, and having babies, and they don't give a damn about none of that. The money don't come up, how he spend money, his credit score, the properties he have, what she does, where she went to school, who her mama is, where her family from. None of that stuff matters when we hitting. None of that stuff matters when I'm skating in it. But when it's time to talk marriage and build a community and build and make this thing official, where we on the books, where we sign the license and all that, now, like, everything that you're saying is right and exact. But my issue is, these are things that should be talked about before you even get to a point where y'all smashing, let alone having babies and getting to a point where y'all are even having a discussion about marriage. Like, I don't understand that. What people are saying, like, to me, women and men are devaluing their bodies when they move like this. What they're saying is that, okay, where you are, no matter, I know you rough around the edges. Okay, I know you a little wild. All right, I know I can't really trust you as far as I can see you. But we've been hitting it for 6 months. Okay. None of that matters to me when I gave you my body. But when it's time for me to give you my name, now I got a checklist. Do you do this? Do you do that? How do you handle this situation? Where's your money? How much do you have? How much do you now? When it's time to give you my name, now I want to know all this stuff. But I could give you my seed, and don't none of that stuff matter. Like that's what doesn't make sense to me.
But we're overly sexualized as not even as a community, as a nation. We are overly sexualized as a nation. It is, and listen, I am 100% guilty of this. I will own my part in this, because I will, again, excuse my language, fuck you and send you home and not call you ever again, because I needed to do something in that moment. I didn't need companionship. I don't want to know about your friends, your fish. I don't care about none of that. I am trying to get laid, and then I want you to leave between 10 and 2 in the morning, because you can't be here when my baby is awake at any point in time. And that I know for a fact he be asleep there. But
no, he's up. He up.
No, he sleep. Trust me. We used to live near the mortar rounds at Bragg. That joker will sleep through anything. He sleep. I promise. Okay. When you take into consideration how much sex is glorified, how much sex is seen as this accomplishment, how much sex is seen, and this is on both sides. This is men and women. We're all doing this now. This is not. Oh, she a hoe because she doing all of this, or he. No, it's all of us doing this. We're all doing this, mm-hmm. And because we're all doing it, it doesn't. There's no reason to have a conversation prior to, because all I'm trying to do is get off. That is it. That's all I want to do. I may be sleeping with you for the last 6 months exclusively, and we decided that we weren't going to use protection and like that. That's not something I can reconcile with. Oh God. But people are doing that. I can't. But it is that part of it where, and that's when children come in that are unplanned. Like my family plan looked like Caden, and then we were supposed to adopt 2 other children. That was our family plan. Like we had a plan. That's the way it was going to work for us. These are things we did discuss. We understood where we wanted to be in the next 5 years. We understood where we were going to put into, like we would look at our like desired places where we wanted to go as far as the military was concerned. And and how would it work based on our ranks? Like these are conversations that people are having, but my husband is significant. My ex-husband is significantly older than me. So he had a different perspective. I'm in my mid-20s. The hell do I know about anything? And to be fair, we were the Zane generation. All the girls in your high school were reading all the books by Zane. And that was supposed to be about the sexual freedom and the sexual awakening and women owning their sexualities. And we should. But it needs to not be owned in such a loose way sometimes. And I'm not saying all the time, because sometimes you just need to do what you need to do. But that's not a way you can continuously live your life. It's not possible. Did I break you? I think I broke you.
I'm gonna mend. I'm gonna heal up.
Rash, I'm sorry I broke your husband.
So she'll get it later. But so like for me, and I'm very critical because I'm a very communal person, and I understand historically, like a group of people, we're struggling. And we're at the bottom. And a lot of that is because I feel like we're out here moving reckless. And we're doing things in a backward fashion that don't make sense. Having a child by a woman that I don't see as my wife, or that I know I would never see as being my wife, makes absolutely no sense to me. On top of that, and I had to learn this when I got older, because I'm not going to front. I ain't always been 39. I was out here, I should know, you know what I mean? What, you know, before we met, how I moved. But, and I had to learn that when I got older, but quality is everything now. You know what I mean? So it's like, I can't even now, I couldn't, like when Juju gets old enough to date and we have conversations and he's in college or he's a grown man, you know, we have conversations. I'm going to say, look, I don't even really want you to move sexually with a woman that you don't see yourself building something with, because you're wasting your time. Like, why would you give a woman your meat that you don't see yourself building anything with? If she ain't worth building nothing with, why would you run the risk of being with this woman and giving this woman your seed and you losing control? Because now that you giving her, you know, your seed, now she has to control and can do with it whatever she wants. If she wants a kid, she can have a kid, and ain't nothing you could do about it. If she don't want a kid, she can have a kid, and there's nothing you could do about it. Whether you want a child or not, you lose leverage, you lose control of your lineage when you out here just spraying it around, or not spraying it around everywhere, but just spraying it around in a woman that you don't see yourself building with. You know what I'm saying? So like all this stuff, all this liberation that we talking about, you know, to a certain degree, like let me ask you this too. I gotta do, like, when have Black women not been liberated? When have Black women not been sexually liberated? Who unliberated you?
Who
Let me do
so let's talk. So if you want to go there, let's talk about let's talk about, you know, the number of women, Black women included, who are sexually assaulted before the age of 18.
Okay.
Let's talk about 1 in 3. 1 in 3 women will be sexually assaulted before they're 18.
Mm-hmm.
So I had 4 friends at my house this Sunday for brunch.
Okay.
Out of the 4 of them, I was the only person who had been sexually assaulted. I was not 18 when this happened. I was older than 18 when this happened. I was on active duty in the military when this happened to me. But I was the only one who had gone through it. When something like that happens to you, it takes a part of your sexual development away from you. And in some cases, you become overly sexualized, or in some cases, you become sexually repressed. And without help in therapy, there's very little ways of telling the difference between the two and understanding who you are sexually. So before a lot of us can even get to the part of our sexual evolution or revelation, someone has already taken it from us.
Okay.
Someone has put fear in us when it comes to sex. I was afraid for a long time. Give me a minute. I was afraid for a very long time. I am 35 years old and I am still afraid of the dark. Like, I have night lights all over my house. I get up constantly and check on my child. I walk 3 flights of steps to make sure all the doors in my house is locked because someone took something from me that I can't get back. And when that happened, I became overly sexualized. I became the person that wanted to control it. No one was ever going to take it away from me again. If I wasn't going to be the person giving it, then that was going to be it. But it was always going to be on my terms. And it became a weapon. It is no longer the case, but that is what happened to me. And when it happens to you at an even younger age, it stunts your development. We get stuck at an immature place because we in psychotherapy and being psychoanalyzed and going to a psychiatrist, and how many times do we blame the victim? And you were acting fast and acting grown and doing things you ain't had no business doing. How many times do we say that to little girls? How many times? Go sit your fast tail down somewhere instead of checking your uncle's chest over in the corner looking lecherous at this child. We don't do that. So then we victim blame, victim shame. And so then when we become adults, we try to figure out how to connect with someone. And so our sexual evolution and revolution and freedom comes from that. And I'm saying this, these are statistics, these are facts, this is not just things I'm spewing. This is how this is part of how this works. And when you take that into consideration, then what? So now you have, and I won't even get into the males, because I know the statistics on that, but that is not my experience, nor will I speak on something that is not my experience. But then you have, so now you have children, adolescents who have been sexually assaulted, sexually abused, exploited, and then they become teenagers, hormonal, and then they become adults, but they haven't developed, as far as the sex part of it is concerned, past 8, 9, 10 years old. And we're angry, or we live in a place of pain. And I am very honest about what happened to me. My son will tell you to this. I'm not raising a rapist. My 10-year-old son knows what happened to me, because I want him to understand what consent is. Consent is something you have to have. Consent is king. You can't just hug anybody. You just can't touch anybody. You just can't do what you like to someone else's person. And that is something that's a whole different topic. But how did we get sexually repressed and frustrated? Someone took something from us when we were very small, before we were able to understand it.
I understand, and I know you said you can't speak on the male side of things because that's not your expertise, whatever. But it's mine, and I've never said it on this show, ever. But I promised myself that when I started this channel, I was going to tell the truth, and I was going to put content out there that could help somebody. And I went through that personally in my life. You know what I mean? My first sexual experience was with my babysitter, you know what I mean, who was a female. And I might have been 9, 10 years old. And my babysitter was like 16, 17 years old. And, and so my mom, would do what she had to do. And she would go out, you know what I mean, whatever. And our babysitter was from the hood. She was from our neighborhood. She would come over, and she was like the kind of the neighborhood babysitter. And she would come over and watch me and my brother. And that was my first ever sexual experience, telling her, her making me touch her and her touching me, and, doing things that, like I wasn't ready for at 9 years old. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna say in front and say it didn't shape my life, and it didn't have an effect on some of the things that I did in life, and some of the women that I kind of ran through and hurt. And I understand that a lot of us, go through certain traumas and things that we lose our innocence and things like that. And I think that, and honestly, we don't, a lot of times we don't get the help that we need to get. You know what I mean? People don't believe us. I've had loved ones who went through that and they weren't believed. When they said, hey, so-and-so did this to me, so-and-so touched me, so-and-so made me touch them, and they weren't believed. You know what I mean? And so, what does that do to you? What does that do to a man? What does that do to a woman when your innocence has been taken away from you and you go to people you love for help and they don't believe you? You know what I mean? They basically call you a liar. You know what I mean? So I know that's tough. And so, and I understand that, there's a lot of trauma with that. And so if that's not checked, if that's not worked out or worked through, if you don't get the help that you need, you may come out. And I get it. A lot of these women that we talk about in the media, rap artists and who do things and, perform and do things where they're naked and half naked and doing certain things, that's what they say. They say, well, I'm sexually liberated. I'm in control of my body. I'm making money off me now. You know what I mean? And so when you peel those layers back, what they're really saying is that somebody took something from me. You know what I mean? At some point in my life, it wouldn't shock me if the Cardis and the Megans and the Kims of the world, somebody took something from them. You know what I mean? At a certain point in their life, and they say, look, not only am I going to get it back on the way I want to get it back, I'm gonna go harder because it's lucrative. Right. You know what I mean? Because there's money to be made now. So I understand that. But what I don't understand is that through all of that, the pain and the trauma of that, bringing a child into this world that's not in an ideal situation. And I'm not talking about, look, I know, like I said earlier, people get married, people get divorced. I understand that. But there are people out here who are doing it who have no desire to ever get married, who have no desire to ever bring a child into this world with a man that's suitable to be a father, or with a woman that's suitable to be a good mother, let alone a good wife. And so I believe that you put your children in the best situation, the best opportunity to thrive, not just survive, but to thrive when you have a mother and father who are on the same page, preferably who are married, you know what I mean? Who have established a bond, a covenant, a connection with each other. And through the beauty of that covenant can produce a child, and they can love that child together and give that child the balance that they need. Because I think it's very important that we start doing that, because we see a lot of things going on in our community, and you understand, you ask questions like, why are we doing this? Why are these youngins wilding out? Why every time you look in the news here in the DMV, somebody getting shot, some little kid got stabbed at the metro at Deanwood somewhere, Minnesota Avenue somewhere. Something happened, these kids getting shot, 3, 4, 5 people getting shot over a weekend. You know what I mean? And you start peeling these layers back. I work in the criminal justice system. You know what I mean? I'm a federal law enforcement officer. And when you see these brothers coming through this system, in my personal life and my professional life, a lot of them were born in bad situations. Were born into situations where their parents were cool enough to have sex with each other. They were cool enough to bring a child into this world, but they weren't okay enough to be married or to have a functional, healthy relationship. And so at a certain point, now don't get me wrong, at a certain point, when we become a man and a woman, we make our own choices in life. So I don't feel brothers who 30, 35 years old talking about everything I did in my life that was messed up was because what my mom did to me. My dad wasn't here, and I'm 35 and I'm running reckless because I did that. I grew up without that. I didn't have my father. My household situation wasn't ideal. But when I got to a certain age, I made choices. I said, look, I have a choice now. I could either do what a lot of my homies are doing, or I could do something different. Because if I want to be something different, if I want to bring children into this world and give them a different opportunity and a different chance than I got, then I have to do something different. I have to be better than what my father was. I have to vet and find a woman that's suitable to be my wife and to be the mother of my children and build like that. You know what I mean?
So my question to you is, how is the language in your house? And I'm saying, for the way that I talk to Caden, I don't talk to I joke with my son, and I'm like, the first girl you bring home, I hate her on principle because I'm your mother. Like, on principle, I don't like her. It's a joke. But when I talk to him about long term, I don't talk to him like his baby mama or when he becomes a father. It is literally when you get a wife,
right?
When you get married. And
right.
I think words have so much impact and influence. How many of them weren't being, how many of us aren't being spoken to that way versus, well, don't bring no babies around here. Not even nothing about marriage. Like, marriage is not a part of the equation.
Yeah, what's going on now is very cyclical. It's a cycle. The whole theme of this show is about, being, how can you be ready to be a parent and not be a spouse? One of the big answers to that, one of the biggest answers to that, is because I was brought into this world, from parents that weren't married. So it's, we have become accustomed in our community with, like, we don't really see marriage as important anymore. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of different reasons for that. We haven't really seen a lot of healthy marriages. A lot of us have grown up in households that didn't have healthy marriages in them. A lot of us have had influences in our home, outside of our home, that have kind of spoken down about marriage. And that's the thing. Like, people get marriage a bad rap because a lot of them don't really do what they're supposed to do when they get married. So they say getting the marriages wrong from jump. Then they do things in their marriage that's wrong. And then when the marriage don't work, then they want to get out here and make music and make movies and do shows talking about marriage is bad. Marriage ain't bad. You know what I mean? Your marriage was bad, and you were probably bad in your marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what people that hardcore bash it. You understand what I'm saying? And I never do that. If Rasha walked out on me tomorrow, I wouldn't bash marriage. I would just say at the end of the day, I would just say, you know what? It wasn't meant for, we grew apart, whatever. And I'm not saying you're doing that, but there are people out here, there are men out here specifically that are doing that as well. That's just bashing the whole institution of it like it's wrong. What it's not wrong. What's wrong is a lot of people are doing it for the wrong reasons. They're not vetting, and then they get jaded, and then they come out in the public eye and throw the whole system away. And it's not the system, it's you. You know what I mean? But I do understand that one of the reasons why we're so comfortable with doing that is because we're comfortable with seeing it. It's all around us. I grew up in, like, if you grew up in the hood, you grew up in the projects, there's no men there. They don't let men in the project. Projects aren't, you don't see family units in the projects. Not where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? Like it was your mom and it was a whole bunch of kids, and dad, men would come through and smash and leave, but they didn't stay there. You know what I'm saying? So so a lot of us grew up in that where we didn't see that healthy dynamic. So we feel like it's okay to bring, and even we were talking about, I'm about to wrap up so you could go in. But even when you were talking about the trauma and a lot of, of our sisters being sexually abused and things like that, it confuses me. And I'm not in a position to understand somebody's trauma or try to rationalize somebody's trauma. But just from the outside looking in, I'm just like, okay, if you've gone through this stuff, if you've gone through the pain, the physical, emotional, spiritual pain of being sexually abused, and you come to the mindset that you're going to liberate yourself sexually and do things on your terms, but you're still going through this stuff and it's still bothering you, you haven't really got the help that you need. Why would you, in the midst of you trying to sexually liberate yourself, why would you bring a child into the world in that? With a guy that ain't suitable to be a father or a husband? Why would you do that?
So I can't speak on that last part.
I didn't say that to you or anybody else to answer. I'm just saying from the outside looking in, that's how I think I feel when I see something like that. That's all.
Because again, I believed my ex-husband was suitable until the Army broke him and he refused to get fixed.
Now, but you did, like, your situation, like, and I want to reestablish that your situation is different. But what I was saying, like what I was trying to get at, was that there are women who go into situations young, 20, 22, whatever. They're not married. They don't want to be married, but they want to have, they feel like in their heart that they are capable and they're ready to be a mother, but they're not ready to be a wife.
So some of it is ego. Some of it is, and there is a generation of Black women who have not just fractured relationships with our paternal figures, but we have fractured relationships with our maternal figures. We have horrible relationships with our mother. Our mothers are the people who called us names or kicked us when we were down or made us feel unloved or unworthy. I mean, this is before someone has even touched us. This is before someone has even, sexually assaulted us. We were dealing with whatever hurt. She mad at us because our daddy done left. She mad. You look like we've seen it, heard it in sitcoms, in jokes and stand-ups. You look like your daddy. Damn it, you made that decision. I wasn't there. You was an adult. I wasn't. I can't help the fact that I look like him. That's what you did. That part of it too. There is a lot of things that we need to heal from, and we make these rash decisions some of it out of ego because we're going to prove that we can do a better job. I'm going to be a better mother than my mother. I'm going to do a better job than she do. I'm going to make sure my kids have everything, and I can do it as a single mother, and I'm going to do it better. And that is ego. That is just straight ego talking. And all of us have it. And some of us let it consume us. Some of us let it consume us. And we then decide, and we have babies. And we're not emotionally, financially, or spiritually or physically prepared to do this. We're just not. And we then continue the cycle of these broken children. And again, I live in a place of an anomaly because my godmother, who's my mother's eldest sister, has been with her husband for over 40 years. They were high school sweethearts. Like these are two black people who decided that they liked each other since 10th grade, and then they were going to get married and have 3 babies and buy a house and a fence and dogs, and like that's what they did. So I again, and when you see functionality and you see your peers, I see your marriage. My son's best friend's parents are married and happy and been together for over 25 years. And I see these things and I go, before I see your marriage, I see your partnership. I see the respect that y'all have for each other. Before we get to the legality and the paper and the God and the grandmother and standing up there in the white dress, before we get to all of that, there is that foundation where y'all two have decided that these are the things that are going to make us work as a couple. And then we're going to stand before God, our grandmother, and that ugly aunt that don't nobody like, but we invited her everything because she's funny and get the party started. That's what people decide to do. Or that's what people should decide to do. And I'm never one to bash marriage, but when you have seen healthy examples of marriage and then you've been in an unhealthy marriage, trust me, that ain't something you want. I would rather, yeah, I'm good. Nope, I'm good. Just I'm good.
All right, I'm gonna say like one more thing, and then I'm gonna let my sister, give some parting shots, and then we'll close out. You know what I mean? But I think that we have to get back. We have to make our children the priority. And a lot of times, like my sister said, you know, a lot of these things that we're doing out here in our community, we're doing it out of ego, and we're doing it from a place of pain and from trauma. And so when you're doing that, you don't always think rationally. When I'm angry, I don't think rationally. When I'm trying to prove something to somebody, what I mean, if I'm not careful, I lose sight of the big picture. And so a lot of times when we're moving like that and we're moving from a place of pain and from a place of pride and ego, we're not considering the children. You know what I mean? We're not. We just say, oh, I'm gonna have kids and I'm gonna do better than my father did. I'm gonna do better than my mother did. But that's something for you. Like, you're doing that for yourself. You're not doing that for the kid. Because if you're doing it for the kid, you understand that the best way to do that is to bring a child into this world with a competent partner. And in my opinion, your spouse. You know what I'm saying? I just listen, you being married helps to set the stage and helps to prepare you for being a parent. Because being a parent, and this is just my personal opinion, being a parent is something that's not designed for you to do alone. It's hard. Listen, I grew up in a single parent household. It was hard. My mother worked hard. Okay. On the weekends, she didn't really have time to hang out with us and do stuff because she was tired. She had 2 jobs. She had to do it by herself. And even though she gave us a better and a healthier and a safer situation that she grew up in, it took everything out of her to do that. And it did that because she had to do it alone because my father wasn't there. And so this thing is not designed for you to do it by yourself. I understand it's strong and makes you look like you're some people actually want to do it by themselves. What I mean? Some people actually don't want to be in a marriage and don't want to have to submit to somebody or compliment or cooperate with somebody. They just want to do it on their own. Like, I want to make the decisions. I don't want to have to talk to no man about what I want to do with my son. I don't want to have to talk to no woman about what I want to do with my daughter. I'm gonna do it by myself. Like, there's some people who actually live like that, and then they complain about it being hard and having to do it by themselves. It's not designed for you to do it by yourself. Like I said, I understand people get married, people get divorced, and look, I don't look at that in a bad light. What I look at that as, I say, look, they thought enough about their child to bring them into the world with parents who are married. Now, if that marriage don't work, it happens. Okay, but I tried my best to do it the right way. If it didn't end the right way, so be it. But I didn't bring you into this world, into a situation that wasn't ideal, because we know the numbers. We know children born into that situation have a higher probability of thriving in life when the parents are together. They understand what each other needs. They're functional, all that good stuff. So at the end of the day, I want, we got to get back to thinking about these children. These children need a good mother. They need a good father. They need them working together. They need them complementing one another. Whether they marry, divorce, whatever, you need parents that understand and give that child balance. And a lot of us out here in our community are struggling because we don't have the balance. That's why these women talking about these dudes act like women. They all emotional and catty and they can't make a decision and all that. They acting like women. That's because a lot of them, that's all they've been around. They haven't really been around a guy. They don't have no uncle or grandfather or cousin or big brother, somebody that can really give them some game. And then a lot of these guys, a lot of these brothers out here, like, well, Frank, these women, man, they want to be a guy. They ain't trying to be feminine, soft, whatever. And I'm like, look, a lot of that's because they went through some things in their life. And at the end of the day, a lot of it is a trust issue. They don't feel safe enough around you to be feminine and soft and vulnerable because, they have some things that they went through that they haven't really dealt with yet or haven't gotten over yet. You know what I mean? So I just think going forward, if you trying to liberate yourself, if you all of that, look, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your body. But what I am here to say is that you can sexually liberate yourself and not bring no kids into this world you ain't ready for. Period. You know what I mean? You can sexually liberate yourself with Day Day or Ron or whatever, and you ain't got to have no kid with them. You know what I'm saying? Get you one, get you a good bus, go home. You ain't got to make no kids and bring kids into the world in a situation that's not ideal. You know what I mean? And then complain about it the whole time when you knew it wasn't ideal when you did it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, let's be fair. That's all I'm saying. So I'm gonna let my sister out. Before you go in, I just want to thank you first and foremost for coming on. You know what I mean? I enjoyed it. I gotta have you back because I heard something about you, man. You know what I mean? We gotta talk about that. I heard you was on the feminine side of the game, and we gotta break that down in another show because I need to know things.
Okay.
But I want to thank you, for coming on and dropping some jewels tonight. I'm gonna let you have the floor and say what you want to say. Give us a parting shot.
So if you're going to do it alone, and I'm doing it alone, and again, reiterate, I knew I wanted to be a mother at 15. Pick the right village, because if you pick the right village, it makes a world of difference. My parents, my former in-laws, they are there. This family right here, I got a new job, decided to save for my house, and I went missing from the PTSA. Your wife went looking for me because, oh no, where is she at? And if she not okay, then that little boy is not okay. Pick people who are going to be concerned for you. Pick people who are going to help you. Because you honestly, and if you ask anybody that knows me, I never say that I'm doing it alone. Yeah, I'm here every day, but I am not doing this alone. My parents, my sister, my siblings, my aunts, my cousins, my battle buddies. I call people for parenting advice. I ask. I am not so arrogant as to believe that I can do this on my own. That little jerk is almost looking me in my face, and he wears size 8 shoe, and I got a cousin that's 6'11". I stand 5'5". That little jerk is gonna be taller and bigger than me. That means I'm gonna need you to come over here and whoop his ass because I ain't gonna be able to do it. You need to be able to have people that are going to support you and prop you up, because even in a marriage, sometimes you need someone else you and your partner are tired, and someone else is going to help fill it in. And I think that's the thing. We have to get more in as a community into the generational raising of our children. Grandparents need to be involved. Aunts need to be involved, because it's great y'all two are together, and it's wonderful, and it shows them what a happy, healthy relationship is supposed to be. But it's so much more to it than that. So if you are going to go the solo road, whether through circumstances or choice, just make sure you have a village in place and you know what they look like.
Right. again, thank you. You know what I mean, for coming on. Fellas, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man. You know, I did it right, but I had some scares along the way. You know what I mean? Before I met Rasha, look, I was out here, you know, playing and you know, not being smart sometimes. And, you know, I got that call too. You know, hey Frank, I'm late. Late for what? Like you late for work? You know what I'm saying? Like I've got them. I got look, and it just happened. You know, the stars aligned properly that I wasn't nobody's daddy. You know what I mean? Until you know I got married and was able to do it right. You know what I mean? But for the most part, there are two things, fellas, that motivate men or that drive men. That's love and fear. And fear and love drive my life. You know, love for my family. You know, love for my extended family. Um, you know, just love for my community, for my people, and fear. You know, fear of disappointing them, fear of letting them down, fear of them needing something that I can't give them. You know what I mean? Fear of my daughter, fear of Summer and my son Juju coming to me saying, "Daddy, I need this for school. I need this for this project or this field trip," and I can't give it to him. It's that fear that makes me go hard. It's that fear that makes me, you know, love their mom. You know what I mean? Because I'm fearful not of my children not seeing a healthy functioning marriage. You know what I mean? Because I want to bring so much respect and love to it to the point where they say, wow, like I want to do it like that. I want my son to look at me and say, like, I want to be like my dad. I want to, you know, travel and do these things and have my own family and work hard and be able to, you know, put them in a nice house and go on trips and stuff like that. I want my daughter to do the same thing. I want her to look at me and say, whoever I decide to marry and have children with, I want them to be able to, I want my father to respect them. I want my father to look at him and look at me and say, baby, you did a good job. Like that's a good brother right there. You know what I mean? And I have no hesitation with walking her down the aisle and giving my daughter away. You know what I mean? It's that fear, it's that love that drives me and makes me want to do the right thing. And so I think if we get back to that healthy sense of fear and love, I think we'll do a better job of bringing children into this world in healthier situations. You know what I mean? Where, you know, they don't have to struggle and fight and go through trauma and all of that kind of stuff and think that's okay. We've glorified pain. We've glorified adversity. Like we think it's a badge of honor to get molested and still be alive. You know, to be in the hood and get shot at and sell crack and still be alive at 21. Like we think that's a badge of honor. If you in that situation, yeah, I mean, obviously you want to come up out of it, but that's not something we need to brag about. Stuff that's different. It should be honorable to be married. It should be honorable for find a beautiful, feminine Black woman to marry. That's going to love you and support you and influence you and let you know when you wrong and you messing up in a feminine, soft way. Like we should make that a badge of honor. We should make it a badge of honor as men to be upright, to be honest, to tell the truth, to mean what we say and say what we mean, to be somebody that a woman can depend on, that she can rely on, that she know, like, look, if he said he gonna do it, I already know it's done. If it's something that I need, I know he got it. You know what I mean? We should make that honorable. We should make that a badge of honor. And I think that then our children will be better, our relationships will be better, and we'll be better overall as people. So that's all I got, man. I want to thank y'all again for coming through, checking us out, checking me out on View from the Man Cave. I want to thank my sister Giovanna for coming through again. You know, so I do my shows. Y'all know what time I do them every Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm not sure exactly what show I'm gonna do next week. I got a couple topics that I want to run through and choose, but I'll do that in the next couple days before we fly off to Puerto Rico on Friday. You know, for Rasha and some private time, her birthday weekend, we're gonna turn up a little bit out there.
Yay!
You know what I mean? No babies will be made. I guarantee that. You know what I mean? But we will have fun. We will enjoy ourselves. So we're gonna do that. And so I'm gonna get back at y'all, man. So make sure y'all please like, comment, subscribe, and share. If you feel led to do that, you know what I mean? I would greatly appreciate it. It helps the channel to grow. the success, the growth of this channel is all, I attribute that all to you, because you're watching, sharing, all that good stuff. The channel has grown leaps and bounds. It's been about a year, and we're almost at 3,000 subscribers. That's great. I thank y'all for that. I love y'all. Also, if you want to support the channel financially, you could do that too. On YouTube, I am monetized, so there is a little $ button on YouTube. You can press that and super chat if you feel led to do so. Also, you can hit me on Cash App or PayPal. The links are there. Cash App, $ View from the Man Cave. PayPal as well, paypal.me/View from the Man Cave. If you want to reach out to me via email, you could do that as well. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, I do consultations as well. I do mentoring as well. So if you're interested in that, if you have any questions, hey Frank, I have a great topic I would love for you to talk about on the channel, whatever. You can send me an email, say, hey Frank, thanks, man, you're doing a great job. Keep it up, keep going, keep moving. You can email me at frankjrivers@gmail.com for all of that good stuff. And follow me, man. I'm everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm on Facebook, obviously. Y'all know that. I'm on Instagram. Okay. View from the Man Cave on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. You know what I mean? I could be tweeted out here. You know what I'm saying? View from Man Cave on Twitter. I'm on Clubhouse as well. That's why I get it popping most of the time on Clubhouse now. It's the new spot. It's the wave. We over there. If you got an iPhone, whatever, you can slide over to Clubhouse. We have a lot of interactive discussions over there. This room right now came from a conversation that I had in a room that I was in on Clubhouse. So you can hit me on Clubhouse as well. You just type in my name, Frank Rivers, whatever. I will appear for you right there on Clubhouse. So on that note, man, that's all I got. Again, I want to thank y'all for coming through, pulling up another Tuesday in the books. And on that note, man, y'all be safe. See y'all next time.
The powers of alchemy. The powers of alchemy